I have never been more ready in my entire life to do this right now. Never. It's all leading up to this moment. All right, now, right here. My whole life, right here. Beastie Boys. Now, because of this book, I've been listening to the Beastie Boys a lot again lately. This seems to happen every 1 or 2 years. You know, I'll listen to them a ton, remember why I loved them so much, and then, and go, well, I shouldn't take such a long break from the Beastie Boys. They're awesome. And then, of course, another year goes by, and then the whole cycle repeats. And I just listen to all their great stuff, but not something I usually do on this channel, but recommended reading right here. This came out about 3 years ago, and I finally got into it earlier this year. And there's just a wealth of, you know, humor and, you know, love and, you know, misfit stories, and, you know, they had quite wild times, of course, back in the day with their fame. So we're ranking the records here. We're obviously not doing this one over here. That's a compilation, and we're not doing this one. A lot of people like that instrumental record a lot. It's really good, but it's more of a compilation as well, as is the recently released, oddly named Beastie Boys Music. I guess this is Beastie Boys book, so as a cash grab 2.5 years later, they're like, let's put out Beastie Boys Music, the record label. Though it has a nice cover, I'll give it that. Way better than Solid Gold. Gold hits. Gold. So, yeah, so anyway, we're gonna rank the records here, and there's only 8 of them, because it took Beastie Boys a long time to make records, as they joked / parodied themselves on Futurama way back in the day. I think they only had, was it 5 records at the time? They were probably up to Hello Nasty, and Fry goes, of course, if you don't know, Futurama takes place in the year 3000, and Fry goes, oh, the Beastie Boys, I have all 5 of your records, and they're like, where you been, man? That was 1,000 years ago. Now we got 7. And that's almost true, and if you don't count the instrumental record, the mix-up, that would be true, sadly. Sadly, their career got cut short because of MCA's untimely, way too soon passing. So number 8 is going to be this one, and this will surprise a lot of people, but not people that know me. And obviously, if this is your favorite, you know, I can see why. There's a time and a place for it. It's the debut. It's sold 10 million records in the States alone. You know, everyone knows this record. But, you know, back then they were playing more of an act. You know, it's 1986. I don't think a lot of the band members would choose this as their favorite. They probably all would choose this as their least, though some info from this, it sounds like To the Five Boroughs is a least fave for at least Mike D, I believe it is. So yeah, I mean, it's last, but it's a very influential debut album. You know, they're finding their style, like Slow and Low sounds a bit more like a Run DMC song, but it's a good one. Paul Revere is a great highlight, of course. The first 3 songs, specifically Rhyming and Stealing and The New Style, those ones are really good. But this one contains probably my least favorite studio tracks that are like A-sides from the Beastie Boys. And that's Fight for Your Right to Party is probably my second least favorite song from them, which was the huge hit. And trust me, it's good. And it's fun. It's got its time and its place. But, you know, I'd rather listen to, you know, the Beastie Boys be more prophetic and more fun, and they do that on all the later albums. And Girls is definitely my least favorite Beastie Boys tune. It's too dumb with the ba 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 ba. I never really liked that one very much, even when I was a teenager. And yeah, that one doesn't often appear on compilations. I don't think the band really likes it. It's sort of, it hasn't aged well. It seems a little bit sexist, which in the 90s you could hear them trying to go in the completely opposite direction, thankfully. And yeah, but this is a fun listen. It's a great debut. You know, people love their Brass Monkey and stuff. I think Paul Revere is far and away the highlight, as is the sampling on this. The hip hop beats and lyrics with the kind of guitar, kind of rock sampling, like sampling John Bonham's drums and stuff like that. And there's a Back in Black AC/DC sample in there. Number 7 is going to be the Mix-Up, right here. The Mix-Up, I was listening to this earlier today because I hadn't heard this front to back in maybe a decade, honestly. And I thought, I gotta get this one on wax because it's a nice chill-out record. Like, it's not slow-paced all the way through, but even the faster joints, like Succa de Tangerina, I think is probably how you pronounce it. That one's like, it's a faster pace, but it's still chill. Like, it's a nice chill background music, not to slight it, but really solid record. Not a bad instrumental on it. I remember Unfairly, though, when it came out, which I believe was '07, I just played Off the Grid over and over again. And I never bought the record, and I'd love to have the LP. I don't really care if I have the CD or not of that one. Maybe to just say that I have all the Beastie Boys albums. Maybe I'll get the CD, but it would be nice to have the LP of that one. But yeah, it's funky, it's fresh, They just, they really prove how much they've evolved as musicians, because, in the 80s, they were like this punk rock group before their fame with License to Ill. And then they, in the 90s, they kind of dusted off the punk. They did some of that hardcore punk stuff on the records and on one of the EPs that came out. But yeah, by the Mix-Up, they were doing very accomplished genres and more complex instrumentation and that. And yeah, the Mix-Up is a great record, but it's number 7. Number 6 is To the Five Boroughs, and this was the first record by the Beastie Boys I got on the day of the release, because I became a fan when I heard Hello Nasty tracks on the radio and that, and I went out and bought The Sounds of Science when it came out, the compilation disc, because I loved the song Alive, and I loved what I was hearing on the radio at the time, which was mostly Remote Control, Intergalactic, Negotiation Limerick File, stuff like that. So yeah, fast forward 6 years, they finally came back with this, and it's a fun record. It opens huge with Check It Out, or Check It Out, really, and most of this stuff is good. I know the band kind of regrets that MCA decided, okay, we're just gonna do nothing but hip-hop on the record, 15 hip-hop tracks, no instrumentals, no punk rock stuff, no like reggae, Something's Gotta Give, no rock like Gratitude, none of that, just straight hip-hop, and a lot of them follow the formula of each MC gets 2 lines and then passes the mic, though there's a couple that don't work like that, but they're all with all 3 of them rapping. And but yeah, even though it's more formulaic than we're used to from the Beasties, there's still some really good ones, like Check It Out, as I mentioned. I really like Right Now. I know it failed as a single, and didn't have the most interesting video, but that one's cool. Takes time to build, Rhyme the Rhyme Well. Triple Trouble is a lot of fun. Hey You is good. And it's even stylized as F asterisk question mark numeric symbol. Word is fun, but some of it doesn't work as well. That's It, That's All is All Lifestyles is a little bit too preachy and cringeworthy. And We Got This, kind of it's fast, but it's kind of weak as a closing song. Alternatively, Crawl Space is hilarious. I love that one a lot, and I love Ad Rock's delivery on it. It's it's something to behold. And the Brouhaha, I think one of them said that's the dumbest song they ever recorded, but they kind of love it for it. And Yeah, I think it's hilarious. I love the part where all three of them start cracking up, and then MCA just adds in ha ha ha, like really sarcastically. They sound like they're having so much fun, and that was the thing behind the record, is it's having fun in scary times, because they were recording it post 9/11, and there is a lot of kind of political stuff that seemed important at the time for them to say, but I think they wish they didn't go so heavy-handed. But it still manages to be a fun enough record, and the production isn't as futuristic and timeless as, say, Hello Nasty, but um, it's a nice time capsule. It works still for me. And then number 5 is going to be the Hot Sauce Committee Part 2. And of course, there never was a Part 1, and they were kind of toying with the idea of doing Part 2 coming out and then Part 1, because Part 1 got delayed or something. And I think, we'll never hear Part 1, unfortunately. So this is one of the only times, maybe the only time in music history where Part 2 has come out without a Part 1. A lot of, I did a list for a website, and a lot of musicians, artists, and groups, they release a volume 1 of something, whether it's a studio thing, or they have some trilogy planned, or maybe it's a compilation that they call volume 1, because they hope fans will say, oh, that they probably have a lot of career ahead of them, and then a volume 2 never comes out. But this is the opposite situation, and this has the big single Make Some Noise, which was their last kind of hit, I guess you could say. It didn't splash as big as, To Check It Out or Intergalactic, but it did fairly well and had a, iconic video and everything. And then this one was slept on, but Don't Play No Game, I Can't Win with Santigold is definitely one of their late career highlights, if not the late career highlight. I love that one. And one critic, I remember reading something where one critic said it seemed more Santigold than Beastie Boys. I don't really see why that's a problem. Like, maybe the problem was that it's on a Beasties record, but I think it's really 50-50. They both get a nice say. It's a really great song. Multilateral Nuclear Disarmament is a song I used along with Beastie Boys, along with Gorillaz' Stylo, as a test for a new bass system, and I would really recommend using that one. It's got such a huge bass on it. And there's some fun shorter songs. Funky Donkey's really good. I think if Funky Donkey and Brass Monkey got in a fight, the Donkey would win. I love Funky Donkey. And Nonstop Disco Power Pack, okay, those ones are really good. Too Many Rappers isn't quite as exciting as it should have been, them teaming up with Nas. It's still fun, though. This is a different version of it, interestingly. The chorus, I wish the chorus was a little bit more, but all in all, a cool record, and it ranks ahead of To the Five Boroughs because there's a bit more variety, I guess, and it's fun. It's definitely fun. And I love the artwork. I don't know why. I just like the colors that they used. I find it very appealing. Like, this sitting on a shelf makes me go, yeah, that's worth buying. Unfortunately, the gatefold, I don't know. I don't know who drew those. Like, no disrespect if it was one of the Beasties, but I don't like that at all. And there's more on the sleeves. Some of them make no sense. Some of them are a bit more literal. But MCA's in the sleeve, and I believe Mike D is. Ad Rock's out here somewhere. But, they don't even look like themselves, which I guess is the joke. Like, especially MCA looks like some weird Yeti dude. But I'd pull it out, but it's not worth it. Like, it's not worth seeing, I guess. Number 4 is going to be Check Your Head. And that's a good cover, too. I love that. It's so 90s. I love the way MCA's looking at the camera, and Mike D's all aloof, and Ad Rock, I don't know what he's doing. Just waiting for the bus to show up, I guess. Or the tour bus, I guess. Of course, this one's got the huge So What You Want on it, which, as overplayed as it was, especially on alternative rock radio, still holds up, and it still sounds huge and stellar. And you have that part where Bismarcky comes in for a second, and Something's Gotta Give. That's a really important song. It was a single, interestingly, or at least it had a video, but obviously it's a little too not hooky. Like, it's not like a big catchy one like So What You Want, but it's very important. And this record in 1992 showed like a shift in the Beastie Boys, their commentary, and what they wanted to convey upon the world. And it ends with Namaste. Like, obviously, as young adults, you know, they're kind of experimenting with meditation and different concepts and stuff like that, and embracing different styles of living. And on the 80s stuff, they would get take out fried chicken and eat a bunch of crap in the studio. And then here they were starting the vegetarian meals and stuff like that. But they still bring the punk. There's still lots of punk energy, like on Time for Livin', which Mike D sings. And Gratitude is a huge, huge highlight as well. I think that's my favorite track off this record. Just a pure rock song from the group. Not really any extra gimmicks, just a rock song. And a really good one. They play really well. It had a funny video that sort of aped Pink Floyd's Live in Pompeii, which was really interesting to see a group like the Beastie Boys do that. And then a lot of people know Pass the Mic. That was a big one. And Jimmy James, which this is a different version because I guess they couldn't clear the Jimi Hendrix sample. So it's a different version, but thankfully the sample's re-implemented, and on compilations such as this one, where they're all dressed as old codgers, you can hear the reinstated version, which was supposed to be the version that originally played. So now we're in the top 3, and I'm gonna say at one point when in my adolescence this was my favorite Beastie Boys record, and it's Ill Communication. And some people don't like this as much as Check Your Head because it's the only Beastie Boys record where they stayed with a sound from one record jumping to the next. Like, this is the same kind of production as Check Your Head. It's really rough. The guys are kind of distorted half the time they're rapping. That's kind of the gimmick, I guess. But really, this refines everything. The songwriting's better. In my opinion, the beats are better. The instrumentals are even better. And, that's saying a lot because Check Your Head is no slouch. This one comes hard with Sure Shot, one of the best opening songs of all time, and probably my favorite Beasties one, just looking over at what's coming up. Yeah, definitely in my top 10 or 5 favorite Beasties songs all told. And of course this one, MCA came out with I Want to Say a Little Something That's Long Overdue. The disrespect of women has got to be through. To all the mothers and the sisters and the wives and friends, I want to offer my love and respect to the end. And, to say that in a hip-hop record in 1994, one that was released as a single and everything, where everyone else was going, these hoes, and, my bitch, this and that, and everyone's disrespecting women, and MCA's saying the disrespect of women has got to be through. Like, he was ballsy, and he was ahead of his time, and he was a smart dude, and I respect him more than any other musician, like, that I can think of, or as much as some of my other heroes. But, I love MCA so much, and that line, that tells it right there. In hip-hop, that's huge to say something like that. And, there's Sabotage on this, that Big Monster song, and it's been fun. I don't usually watch reaction videos to things, because some people overplay it. Some of them are a bit dumb, but it was funny to see people, like kids generations after me that didn't know the Beastie Boys, react to songs like Sabotage and get their minds blown. And the intergalactic reaction videos are fun as well. You have Get It Together, which Q-Tip guests on. Root Down is funky and huge sounding. The little songs like Flute Loop are still events. They're still a lot of fun. And Bodhisattva Vow, and Going Into Transitions. Those are the last two songs. Just like Namaste, they really show where the group was coming from at the time and embracing meditation and Buddhism, and I mean, because of MCA, but you know, it would have been interesting to have, you know, be a fly on the wall and hear him discuss his new philosophies with his bandmates that respected him and everything. But at the same time, they're making, you know, these punk rock records and these funny raps, and finding a balance between having fun, making a career out of it, but also being a you know, the best human you can be and everything. Like, I don't know, there's something to be said for all that. Big respect to all three of them, but you know, MCA, of course. This one I always say these in my ranking videos now, but this could have been number one as well. I love this record a lot. And, you know, this one's got the most beats for your buck. It's got 22 different songs on it, all sorts of different styles, a production method that... The production on this sounds so fresh. This came out in 1998. It sounds so futuristic. And, you know, it's the exact opposite of the last two records. 1992's Check Your Head and 1994's Ill Communication. This is 4 years later, and they were doing the whole kind of rough, sounds like recorded with thrift store microphones, and, you know, rough as possible stuff. And then this comes out, and it sounds like futuristic space stuff, and you have all this echo coming in, and you got the huge single Intergalactic, the original version of Body Movin', which was remixed by Fatboy Slim, and that was the single version / the video version. Most people like this version more, I found. I actually sort of like that elongated Fatboy Slim version a bit more. Also, 3 MCs and 1 DJ came out as a single and had a live version. And as a non-music video fan, that is one of the funnest, freshest music videos, even still, even 20 whatever years later, 23 years later, with Mixmaster Mike, of course. The Negotiation Limerick File, one of my favorite Beastie songs. It was a single, like a promo single or whatever, but somehow it's underrated as well. Electrify is amazing and huge. Unite is so fun and bouncy and fresh. I Don't Know is introspective and basically just MCA with a female backing vocal and a guitar. Just really simple, effective. Song for the Man calls out, you know, sexist men who are looking girls up and down on the train and, you know, trying to, yeah, just being really cringy and rapey. So Ad Rock is calling them out on that one, and I'm pretty sure, I might be paraphrasing, but his wife was so proud of him there. And something he said at an awards show too that was standing up for women. And you know, these guys were, in the 90s was the era that if you said something from your heart, people would say fag or something really stupid like that. And that was an insult back in the 90s. And yeah, for them to come out and say that is, again, they're ahead of their time, you know? Anti-violence, anti-sexualism, and all that. I didn't mention Remote Control. Remote Control is awesome. That's Mike D on lead vocal. And yeah, that one is huge. It hits really hard. And I said that Sure Shot was my favorite opening one. Super Disco Breakin's gotta be number 2 for opening songs. That one's amazing. So fun and huge sounding, great raps. That right into the move, excuse me, is amazing. Yeah, so I could just gush about this one all day, but we gotta get to number 1 here. So number 1, and there's a few different covers of this, I believe. Some where the sun is shining not as much. But this is typically what you'd find, which is a weird cover. But of course, one of the vinyl reissues is this, which that's the cover I like the most right there. And it was so hard between this and Paul's. This is Paul's Boutique. This and Hello Nasty. But their world's different, and maybe this is a little more consistent. I mean, heaven forbid there's something more consistent than an album that has 22 songs on it. But this is from 1989, of course. This is them following up a record that almost shouldn't have been followed up, and basically just narrowly escaping the sophomore slump. And it kind of was, sales-wise. People weren't rushing out to buy this. People were kind of done with the Beastie Boys, and they took a bold move, and thankfully in, retrospective, this has become, a fan favorite, and people look at this as one of the best hip-hop albums and all that. But, at the time, people were kind of saying it was a flop. People weren't going out to buy it. Apparently not enough copies were made to get sent to the store, so even the people that did want one, there weren't enough copies or something. Like, it sold really poorly out of the gate. I think it has managed to go about 2 times platinum in the States alone, so more copies worldwide, but huge step down sales-wise to License to Ill, but proving that sales don't matter. And they sound so fresh and so vital, and this is them teaming up with the Dust Brothers, and this is one of the most beautiful gatefolds ever. He says hiding behind it. I love that. Like, that's just NYC to a T. And I believe that Paul's Boutique is actually made up, and that sign was like a fake. I don't think there is a Paul's Boutique. There probably is now, but I don't think there actually was. And the whole Ask for Janice thing is fake and everything. But this has the extremely fun Hey Ladies on it, the extremely catchy Shake Your Rump, Shadrock, those were the singles. And you got Sounds of Science, which is amazing. Rope-a-dope, going up to your face and dissed you, the newest and new. Instantly, like, everything's so quotable on this one. They're still so young and hungry, and just a great record. Probably the best record of '89. That's all that really can be said for that one. This is obviously in between being that party kind of parody band and having these like predetermined personalities that they were supposed to live up to and play in the videos, and then of course the more organic kind of rebirth of Check Your Head. Like, this is smack dab in the middle, like refinding their identity and their place in the music industry. And MCA was so kind of frustrated and over what they did with License to Ill and how played out they were and how people were going one-hit wonder band or one album wonder or whatever, that he almost left and they were going to break up the band and that. And I can't remember, I don't think they had to coax him in, but he decided last minute, okay, let's pick up the pieces and do this. And they created something so different than that debut. And, even if you like License Still more, I respect that, but, you gotta respect, how much they evolved in, 3 short years or whatever, and how ballsy it was to do a record like this. And, it's just pure quality, and, reinstates why I'm such a fan. This Hello Nasty, Ill Communication, but, man, they're all good. What a fun group to rank, because they're all good. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please tell me your favorite Beastie Boys LPs. It's been really fun to read people's comments and all that. If you made it this far, you should get a gold star. Peace out, everyone, and take care of yourselves.